Hello, good evening, and welcome to the Friday evening edition of Game On here on News Central. My name is Babatunde Koiki. It's a wet Friday here in Lagos, but that will not stop what promises to be a very, very entertaining 1 hour of sports all across Nigeria and beyond. We'll be looking at all these stories that are pretty much coming up. It's a big weekend for Nigerian football. 3 Nigerian national teams will be in action. We'll be telling you about that, all that in just a few minutes as well. And not forgetting the fact that there are also 2 big matches in Europe as well. The 278th edition of El Clasico, the eternal battle between the forces of light and dark, depending on which side of the divide you're on. Barcelona and Real Madrid will be going head-to-head again, and it's Arsenal entertaining Liverpool at the Emirates Stadium. Liverpool are just 4 points ahead of their opponents. That promises to be very, very interesting as well. If Liverpool win that game, they will be going 7 points ahead, and Arsenal have a chance to cut it to just 1 point. And don't forget, we're coming to you live on your favorite social media handles. We're streaming live on YouTube, live on X as well, and you can also catch us on Facebook, every other one that you tickled your fancy. That's where you will find us as well. Well, it's a testosterone-powered night because I have nothing but men here in the studio, men of timber and caliber. To my immediate right is our very own Okpe Adebari, joins us this fine Friday evening as well. Always a pleasure to have him in the show. And of course, there's Toyin Ibitoye, former special assistant to the former Minister of Sports Development. He's also here tonight as well. And of course, there's Udoka Unjoku, our very own Mr. Capable, coming through tonight as well. Gentlemen, always a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you. It's good to be here on this Friday night.
Yeah. What exactly are you guys looking forward to this weekend? Don't forget, there's Formula One as well. There's the Mexican Grand Prix coming up as well. So that means if you have even an adrenaline junkie, you have need for speed, you know exactly where to go. There's plenty of football on offer. The European leagues are in action. The MPFL is in action as well. There's something for everyone.
Yeah, definitely. But I think for me, it has to be El Clasico. I think there's going to be a new twist to it with Mbappe now in the frame.
His first El Clasico.
Exactly, his first El Clasico.
Hansi Flick's first El Clasico.
Exactly.
As well.
And with the way Hansi Flick has been doing well with Barcelona now, especially in the league, they had a very impressive showing in the Champions League as well.
Don't let the cat out of the bag. We'll be talking about that in detail as well. So any games you're looking forward to?
Yeah, I mean, the Nigerian teams are going to have a very busy weekend, the men and the women. The under-20 boys, you know, I said something about writing them off after that first game against Burkina Faso, where they were, I mean, all over the place. But they've turned things around. They had a much better performance against Cote d'Ivoire and could have scored a couple of goals, although they struggled a bit defensively. But now...
But they came from behind.
They came from behind, yeah. They came from behind and immediately got back on level time, and a few minutes after, added the winning goal. So we're looking good now. Tomorrow we'll play against the Nigerian Republic in the semi-finals. There are 2 slots for the 2 finalists at the CAF Under-20 AFCON. That is what we should be eyeing. And once we're able to get the result against Niger, then we can start to think about the AFCON.
Interestingly, the last time that South Africa hosted the CAF Under-20 AFCON, Nigeria won it. So, omens in the sky.
Good omens.
For you? Anyone?
Yeah, I'm actually looking forward to the Arsenal versus Liverpool game. I'd love to see how Arsenal will play against Liverpool, a depleted Arsenal side playing against Liverpool. And there's one other thing I'm excited for about today. You know, we always say, thank God it's Friday. But today is, thank God it's Wet Friday. The boys will not go to the beaches today.
It's too late to go to the beach.
You say a lot of people
go somewhere else.
Wait, hold on. When I one flew over my head.
Yeah.
It flew completely over my head.
Out of wherever it is right now.
Okay. Well, it's Friday, so let's quickly get on with the rest of the show so that everyone can have a wonderful weekend. Then we start with this piece of news from Nigeria, where the Nigerian Army have emerged champions of the first Comptroller General of Customs Military and Paramilitary National Wrestling Championships, which was held in Abuja. The 3-day tournament had hosts the Customs, the Nigerian Air Force, the NSCDC, the Nigerian Police Force, the Nigerian Navy, the FRSC, and the Nigeria Correctional Service competing Greco-Roman, men's freestyle and women's freestyle wrestling at the Moshood Abiola Stadium. The Nigerian Army eventually won that tournament with 14 medals, 9 gold, 4 silver, and 1 bronze medal to assert their dominance at the championship amongst the other military and paramilitary organizations. I think this is good advertisement for all these organizations, because For those of you who think that you can outmaneuver a member of the NSCDC or the Nigerian army or the police, they are good wrestlers. So
Definitely.
they are good wrestlers.
I remember one time there was a documentary I shot on a boxer, a military guy. He's in the army. Yusuf Lawal, I think that's his name now. He's a heavyweight champion. And when you see this guy, you think he's just an ordinary guy, but he punches really, really hard.
So he doesn't need a gun to actually go to war.
No. He will take you one-on-one. So these guys, and I like what's actually going on for us to have military games. It shows that we have a lot of talents, not just the proper human being that you get to see.
What is a proper human being? Civilians.
Yeah, the civilians are, for want of a better word. But of course, the military guys are doing so well. And I hope that if they ever have a chance to represent Nigeria in Olympic Games or something, they should actually get a call.
Well, Tony, in other countries, you see that the military
Absolutely.
have strong sporting codes.
Yeah.
In many countries, like we've mentioned it here, in Zambia, the Green Buffaloes are the army team of the Zambia national team. FAR of Rabat.
Everywhere.
FAR of Rabat and the army team of the Moroccan team. APR of Rwanda.
Yeah.
And there's a few countries also have police force teams who play in different leagues. You'd expect that this should also be the norm here in Nigeria.
Absolutely. You know, there are some specialized sports that you expect the military guys to excel in.
Shooting, for example.
Shooting, wrestling, judo, taekwondo, martial arts generally, mixed martial arts,
Taekwondo.
all of those things you expect. I mean, because they are specialized sports and they undergo special training, even swimming, you know. And then, you know, because of the discipline that is attached to the military, they excel in this kind of sports. So I'm happy that the Customs, Comptroller General of the Customs has brought this back. The Federal Ministry of Sports also has a tournament, a competition for the military guys. You know, so
that's the National Sports Commission.
Yeah,
you get the impression that the new board, the new National Sports Commission, should be looking at things like this.
The ministry has a lot of programs for this. So the National Sports Commission will just pick them up, maybe strengthen them, restructure those competitions and make them more competitive and more viable, more lucrative for these sportsmen to be involved in. We used to have police machine, the football team, the men, the women, the army team, the NAF Rockets.
The current FA Cup champions in Kaduna are the army team of Nigeria.
Yeah, so
the
it's good.
Berets.
Yeah, so because one of the things that helps you get into this military and paramilitary unit is your ability to do sports, endurance, speed, you know, all of those things. When you are chasing down a criminal, you are, you know,
sometimes you have to leave the criminal law.
So you must be physically ready, and that used to be the hallmark of the military. But I'm happy that this is coming back, and I hope that it continues, and we can get a chunk of our sportsmen for international competitions from games like this.
Speaking of international competitions, don't forget that Nigeria will be hosting the Africa Military Games in just a few weeks. So for the Nigerian Army to basically sweep the wrestling tournament, 9 gold, 4 silver, 1 bronze, that's great preparation for them in the wrestling event.
Yeah, definitely it is. And I think this is just a further testament to the fact that, you know, Nigeria as a whole, we're quite gifted in the sport of wrestling. You know, especially when it comes to combat sports generally, we always breed good athletes there. But aside that, I think generally having the military have their own games is really good for them. We already know that in different aspects they've been tapping into other sports. We know there's handball, we know there's volleyball, and then it's good to see them doing this as well. And you know, to me, I think it's already been like a written blueprint everywhere else in the world. America, North Korea, Germany as well. You do have military people who get into certain sports, and just like Tony said, look, for some of these sports, because of the discipline that is needed to actually be a top athlete in some of these, it only makes sense to have military personnel go into it. But now the question is going forward.
China too, actually.
Yeah, China too. But the question is now going forward, how do we help them transition into being professional athletes?
Yeah, we have some people like Sunday Bada.
Yeah.
We've had Chema Ajunwa. You know, policemen, Joe Lasisi, they call the police.
But should there be an actual government policy that mandates military and paramilitary formations to actually operate and maintain professional teams?
Absolutely. You know, they gain employment into this organization using sports. So they are allowed. Samuel Peter, the policeman.
True.
So you can become a professional athlete and do all of those things, even if you are not going to your office as a regular policeman, but you are still in the force and you are representing the police in this international competition. So the environment is very conducive for you. Your promotion is guaranteed. So Jifa Shuba was in the customs, I think, before he left for the
United
UK.
States. Even in the UK, he's a member of the military.
So they allow you to do your sports, specialize, become professional, and you are still projecting the force wherever you go. Go out there, excel, and still bring glory to the force.
So I beg to ask this question. During our selection for our athletes going to the Olympics, why don't you consider some of these military men and women?
Yeah, well, that's
an interesting
that's
question.
an interesting one.
Because if you talk about them representing Nigeria, because the likes of Choma Juma, Olusoji Fashuba, and co., then we should be able to tap from these talents as
If
well.
you have any one of them that is good enough, to be there.
Loads of gold, silver medals.
Yeah, this is among military guys
True,
now.
yeah.
So if you have any one of them that is good enough, I mean, Sunday was
a top athlete,
policeman who went to the Olympics, an Olympic gold medalist for Nigeria, and at the time the 400 meters champion in Africa. So if you are good enough and you are in the force, they will project
go and
you.
compete.
They are happy to project you so that you can go out there and represent and bring honor. When they come back, you see them get promotion.
Yeah.
To the next rank and all of that. So it's working around.
And speaking of honor, triple Olympic champion Faith Kipyegon is set to receive an honorary doctorate in education from the University of Eldoret in recognition of her highlights and exceptional contributions to athletics and an inspiring career as a world-class runner. The honorary degree will be awarded to Kipyegon during the university's 13th graduation ceremony scheduled for the 21st of November 2024. The year 2024 has been a landmark one for Kipyegon as she claimed her third straight Olympic title in the 1,500 meters, and she broke world records in both the 1,500 meters and the mile, accomplishing these feats within a remarkable 49-day span. And these achievements have earned her a nomination for the prestigious World Athlete of the Year 2024. If you ask me, I think she should win it. I honestly think she should win it. But congratulations to Dr. in waiting, Faith Kipyegon. It's always great to see many of these athletes receive wonderful recognition from their countries and also from educational institutions as basically role models for upcoming athletes who can compete and also for their country and for their educational institutions and also bring honor to their country. I told you, I'm sure guys, you guys probably know multiple athletes who are good enough when you were in university to compete for Nigeria or for any institution, but because of the fact that the Nigerian system doesn't really encourage the sporting endeavor for students, it doesn't help them. I know a lot of medical students who are excellent footballers, but because of the pressure that comes with studying medicine, they never really had that time to compete as well. So we're hoping that they can, at some point in time, this is something that the National Sports Commission should be looking into, some kind of collaboration with the Ministry of Education to ensure that athletes who are good enough to compete for Nigeria can do so without having their education suffer as well. To Formula One, we promised you that there's going to be a wonderful action in the Mexican Grand Prix this weekend, and McLaren have launched a bid to overturn the penalty Lando Norris received for his overtake on title rival Max Verstappen during the United States Grand Prix. Norris received a 5-second penalty for leaving the track and gaining a lasting advantage after using the runoff area to pass Red Bull's Verstappen for third place during the closing stages of Sunday's race in Austin. The penalty then demoted Norris, who finished 4.1 seconds ahead of Verstappen on the road, back down to fourth place and resulted in the latter's Drivers' Championship lead increasing to 57 points with 5 races to go. I did watch that race, and at that point in time, even I knew that the stewards are going to be looking into that one, so it's no surprise. I'm not sure.
A bit of controversy there, because in the Singapore Grand Prix, Max Verstappen actually did that to Lewis Hamilton.
True.
So I was surprised that McLaren's body, they didn't call for a penalty.
Yeah, they didn't call for a penalty.
So for Lando Norris and McLaren, they seem to be smarter in that regard.
And interestingly, Norris was saying that the way that Verstappen had blocked him off, he had no choice. There was really nowhere to go.
Yeah, he didn't.
But we'll see how that pans out. Still talking sports tonight, boxing promoter Eddie Hearn has confirmed that 2-time heavyweight champion Anthony Joshua will face either Daniel Dubois, or Tyson Fury for his next fight. Last month, Joshua's bid to become a 3-time world champion and return to the division's top table ended dramatically and unexpectedly, with Dubois dropping him several times at Wembley Stadium in front of 98,000 fans before he landed the final blow, a crunching right hand in round 5 that left Joshua sprawling on the canvas, his nose in the canvas, his behind waving in the air. His 4th career loss. Joshua is looking to get his career back on track and become world champion again. And a rematch between the two Britons mooted for February 2022 in 2025. But while the fight with Dubois is on the card, Hearn is not ruling out a potential bout with Tyson Fury. Gentlemen, I don't know about you, but it will be an absolute shame if Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua do not fight.
Well, shame for me.
These are the two. Well, hold on. These are the two best. Agreed. The two best heavyweights of their generation.
That's an embarrassing picture of Tyson Anthony Joshua.
It happens.
That fight. I don't want to watch that.
I've never seen. Even I haven't seen them play.
It was like a skit, you know.
Oh, right.
Wow.
It was like a skit. It was like they were just
playing.
Pounding.
If you ask me, because when I saw the way in for both fighters, I said, look, there is no way Anthony Joshua was going to beat Daniel Dubois. And I put my money on Daniel Dubois to win that fight. And
so that means you won a lot of money.
Well, let's put it that way. But of course, I would advise...
Anthony Joshua would not like to see this.
Of course not.
I'd advise Anthony Joshua to just...
No. See, look at what my producer is doing.
This is...
He just left this picture there.
I'm surprised he didn't...
Like, he doesn't know we are Anthony Joshua's fans on this show.
But my producer, this is not fair. This is not fair. Remove it now,
I would say Anthony Joshua should get back to the training ground, train tough, get someone who can actually train him for these fights, because taking on Daniel Dubois again just might be a disaster in waiting for him.
What about the Tyson Fury fight?
No. Tyson Fury is a no-go area. You talk about them being the two best fighters.
It's a no-go area. I mean, wait, there's money to be made, and once the price is right, the fight is all right.
Forget about the money.
Forget about the money.
The money is the one aspect. No, I'm saying you tag them as the two best heavyweight fighters. I would say no. Anthony Joshua has fallen down the pecking order. True.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
But then again,
I agree with you.
I think Eddie Hearn is pushing Joshua too far forward right now, and I think Joshua is too eager to get back in the ring.
Yeah.
Even if he wants to get back in the ring, I think he should face either Zhe Zheng of China or he should face the Congolese Conan.
Mati Bakole,
yes. I think he needs that sort of fight to get him back in that beast mode.
You think those are winnable fights?
I mean, that's what I'm wondering. The same Zile Zhang who annihilated the bronze bomber.
Wilder.
Bakole that destroyed Jared Anderson.
I think Joshua can go up toe-to-toe with him.
No two fights are the same.
Definitely.
No two fights are the same. The Dubois fight, Joshua made a lot of mistakes in that fight.
True.
So many mistakes that I'm sure he will correct if he has a rematch. Because he robbed Dubois on a few occasions in that fight as well. So it was a case of who was rocking the other more that eventually played out. So I think if there's a rematch, his approach is going to be different. He's going to be a lot more defensive and cautious, and then not expose himself unnecessarily the way he did when that first fight happened. So that's going to be a good fight to watch.
I get the impression that Udoka doesn't agree.
No, I do know. So to be honest,
you think Joshua is done and dusted?
I've gotten bored with how Anthony Joshua fights. To be honest, it's become very, very boring.
But you were hailing him when he killed Ngannou now.
No, that was a skit.
Oh wow. Let's move on now on this part of the show. Finally, let's tell you that 5-time singles major champion Maria Sharapova and American twins Bob and Mike Bryan, who formed the most successful doubles team in history, have been named to the International Tennis Hall of Fame class of 2025. The class of 2025 will be enshrined on a 23rd of August induction ceremony at the Hall of Fame in Newport, Rhode Island. Sharapova, one of the only 10 women in tennis to achieve a career Grand Slam in singles, became the first Russian woman to reach the world #1 ranking in 2005. Sharapova also won a silver medal at the 2012 London Olympics. And as for the Bryan brothers, absolute legends. They won every single title that you can think of.
Let me remind you, Sharapova is a favorite of Wale Adigun.
Okay.
Just in case you didn't know.
Yes, true.
We used to call her a smashing Russian beauty.
Yeah.
More than Anna Kournikova? I thought Anna Konikova was... Well,
No, Sharapova.
no,
Five Grand Slam titles.
Yeah.
wait, let's just move on. Before they accuse us of sexism, we'll take a short break on the show. When we come back, we'll be talking football. Thank you so much for staying tuned. You're still watching Game On here on News Central Television. It's a Friday night, which means that the phone lines are open, and we would very much like you to call in from anywhere you are in the world and join the conversation. That's the phone line there on your screen. It's 070-5572-7272. Call us and tell us your name and tell us whatever sporting issue is burning on your mind. We'd very much like to hear it and discuss it here with you here on the show. Well, it's another weekend, which means that the MPFL will be in action. There will be matches going down this weekend. Let's quickly give you a list of the matches to look forward to this weekend. Katsina United will be battling Niger Tornadoes. Remo Stars will be guests of Heartland. And Bendel Insurance will also go head-to-head with Abia Warriors. Nasarawa United will tackle Kano Pillars. Rivers United will entertain El Karemi Warriors, while Plateau United will battle Sunshine Stars. There's still more matches to be played this weekend. Eyimba will entertain Ikorodu City, while Enugu Rangers, defending champions, will be guests of Kwara United in Ilorin. Shooting Stars will battle Akwa United, while it's Lobi Stars versus Bayelsa United this weekend. Matches to look forward to. I think that game, Lobi Stars Bayelsa United, will actually be played on Monday, I believe. Now let's quickly show you the top 6 in the MPFL as it currently stands. The MPFL is currently being led by Rivers United, followed by Remo Stars, I believe, but it's looking really good for these two teams. And don't forget, Rivers United, coached by Philip George, erstwhile coach of the Super Eagles, are still unbeaten after 8 matches in the MPFL. So that is a really good start of this for the season to them. Don't forget the phone lines are open, like we said, 0705-727272. We'd really like to hear what you're thinking regarding sports this weekend. Well, after a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Cote d'Ivoire, Nigeria's under-20 national team, the Flying Eagles, took to the training ground this morning, Friday, in Lomé for a recovery session ahead of their crucial semi-final match against Niger Republic. The session, which lasted just an hour, focused on physical recovery and light drills. Coach Ali Zubairu opened up by congratulating the players for their impressive performance, but reminded them of the importance of staying focused for Saturday's encounter. And quoting him, he says, the job isn't done yet, highlighting the upcoming challenge. Well, 19 players participated in the session, with midfielder Sabiu Ibrahim on the sidelines. We hear he's nursing an ankle injury, which he sustained in Thursday's match against Cote d'Ivoire. His availability for tomorrow's match remains uncertain. With a spot in the finals at stake and qualification for the under-20 AFCON, the Flying Eagles are determined to secure victory over their counterparts from Niger Republic. Guys, this team that a lot of people wrote off after their less than stellar performance against Burkina Faso in the first game. They bounced back against all odds in good fashion, coming from a goal down to eventually win. And like we said, they could have scored more. There are those who are saying that, look, a Nigerian team should be beating a Nigerian team any time of the day. But pride goes before a fall. And I would like to think that Ali Zubairu has learned from his mistakes. And he had more than enough time, a week, almost 7 days, to prepare for that second game against Cote d'Ivoire. You expect that he would have probably dotted the I's and crossed the T's for this game. Definitely.
Looking forward to that game against Niger Republic, which what we saw in the first 2 games, Burkina Faso and Cote d'Ivoire. I think the boys, like you rightly said, they've learned their lessons. But going against Niger Republic, yes, on paper, we are favorites. But of course, do not underestimate the Nigerians, because they can actually be a banana peel for the Flying Eagles of Nigeria. But we should be able to get this result and qualify for the AFCON proper.
So you know Ali Zubairu quite well. Very methodical, very calm man, builds good entertaining teams. He likes to work with youngsters as well. I'm really pleased for him how his team actually bounced back.
I'm very happy. I was so disappointed with the first game. There was no rhythm. The team was lethargic. They were just puffing the ball, and they were playing against a team that had taller defenders than our strikers. So it was jerky. The performance was jerky, and it was not smooth at all. So I wrote them off. I thought, well, we didn't have enough time to prepare, so it's not the fault of the coach, but I don't see these boys going far. But now they've proved me wrong. They put up a much better performance against the Ivorians. They moved the ball around quicker. The passing was better in the final third, and they created a lot of chances. So I was very impressed that within a day or two, they had corrected the mistakes from the first game, and it produced the result that we saw in that game against the Ivorians, and eventually the victory has put them on top of the group, where they'll be meeting the second place team in Ghana's group. So I'm sure that they have done even more now. I'm sure they are going to be a lot more relaxed now ahead of tomorrow's game, and I expect that they will get the results. I'm hopeful they will get the result. It's difficult to predict at this level of football. It's under 20, so you don't assume, because these are young lads, you don't assume that I'm going to run over my opponent. So nobody is going to lie down for you to roll over. So it's going to be a difficult game, but I think the Flying Eagles will do enough to get the result and have a ticket to the under 20 AFCON. After that, the team will have enough time to gel, to prepare for the tournament next year in South Africa.
Okay, well, we'd like to give all our hopes are on the under-20 national team, and we'd like to wish them all the best in the encounter against the Nigerian Republic tomorrow. So let's quickly show you the fixtures of that CAF on WAFU B on under-20 AFCON qualifier. It's Nigeria versus Nigerian Republic in one of the semi-finals, while it's Ghana versus Ivory Coast in the second semi-final. And that's just one Nigerian team that will be in action tomorrow. The other Nigerian team is the Super Falcons of Nigeria, Nigeria's senior women's national team. They will be taking on their Algerian counterparts at the Remo Star Stadium in Ikenne in an international friendly. The interim coach of the team, Justin Madugu, has called up, I believe, 25 players, 9 foreign-based players. The vast majority of the team are drawn from players who play in the NWFL. Hopefully, we'll be seeing how they can perform. That will be their first match since they lost 3-1 to the Nadeshiko of Japan in July at the Paris Olympic Games. So we'll be wishing them all the best tomorrow against Algeria.
The first of two friendlies.
First of two friendlies,
The opportunity for us to see the girls. Coach Madugu has been part of the setup, so he's new, and he's been in before when they were trying to negotiate a new contract for Randy Waldrum before the Olympic qualifier. So he should be familiar with what he has to do. She will also be able to produce a Falcons team that can inspire hope in Nigerians, that they will go to the WAFCON and win back the trophy they lost. Very, very key.
Speaking of the WAFCON, when are we going to have the WAFCON?
The WAFCON is next year.
CAF has been doing a real dilly-dally with it. We're meant to have it this year. At first, it was meant to be in August. Then again, it was postponed to December. And then it became a limbo. This is one of my problems with CAF.
It's a 2024 event in 2025.
But they still haven't given us a 2025 date.
Exactly. So it just seems like the trend keeps
they had the
going
CAF
on.
Congress, they spoke plenty Dogon Turenchi, but nothing about the WAFCON. It's CAF. You are looking for women's trouble, and I'm not there. Speaking about women, there's still another Nigerian team that will be in action tomorrow as well. We're talking about the under-17 women's national team. They will be facing the United States of America in a quarterfinal game at the ongoing FIFA Women's Under-17 World Cup currently going on in the Dominican Republic. The Flamingos, I beg your pardon, have been excellent at this tournament. Won their group, winning every single game, scored 9 goals, conceded only 1. They will be going up against a really tough United States team.
And let's not forget, at the last Under-17 World Cup, if I'm not mistaken,
at the same stage,
they got knocked out by the USA on penalties. So
there you go.
It's like deja vu. Hopefully, it's a good revenge.
No, actually, the last Under-17, I think it was the one before. We beat Germany. We got to the semi.
It was the tournament before this. Then they did get knocked out by USA.
I think it was one before this one.
We beat the Germans in the third place game.
Yes, on penalties.
We were 3-0 up, and then we became 3-3, and then
really great game. Really great game. So I'm hoping that the Super Falcon, the Flamingos, can summon the spirits of the past and also come out victorious against the American counterparts tomorrow. Now to a very, very interesting story that has been brewing across Africa for the last 3 weeks or so. It has to do with that fiasco between Libya and Nigeria. And already we're still waiting for CAF to come out with a definite pronouncement on that particular game, but still nothing yet. But meanwhile, Abdul Hakim Al-Shalmani, a Libyan member of the CAF Executive Committee, well, he has expressed his frustration and disappointment with Libya's, I quote, weak representation at the CAF hearing regarding the contentious Libya-Nigeria match. You recall that the Nigerian team were dehumanized by the Libyan authorities when their flight was rerouted from the Benghazi Airport to an abandoned or small facility, the Abraq Airport, ahead of their 2025 AFCON qualifier. This diversion resulted in the players and officials of the Nigerian team being held for over 20 hours, deprived of essential needs such as food and water and access to the internet. And speaking during CAF's hearing on the botched match, Abdul Hakim Al-Shalmani pointed out that Nigeria had over 20 representatives, including the Minister of Sports, lawmakers, and prominent figures, while he was the only one representing Libya. According to him, if it was unreasonable for him to appeal to the authorities individually without official support, and that the Libyan officials have neglected this important matter, which affects Libya's dignity and sporting reputation. That's quoting Abdul Hakim Al-Shalmani. Meanwhile, the same Abdul Hakim Al-Shalmani also expressed his dissatisfaction with the testimony given by Captain Abdul Latif Merchagoui, the Tunisian pilot who flew the Value Jet charter plane, which took the Nigerian contingent to the contentious Africa Cup of Nations qualifier in early October. Captain Merchagoui, who is acting head of flight operations at Value Jet, served as a primary witness for Nigeria during the hearing. Al-Shalmani, despite lacking aviation expertise, dismissed Merchagui's testimony as false and slanderous, alleging it was skewed in favor of Nigeria rather than maintaining diplomatic respect between Libya and Tunisia. Let's take a quick listen to Captain Merchagui.
To land as destination Benghazi, Benina, but unfortunately, and we got the approval from the Libyan Civil Aviation Authority that we are approved to land in Benghazi, but unfortunately when we start descent they asked us to divert to Abraq, which is at almost 150 miles, that is 300 kilometers around more far, but it's at the east. So it wasn't our alternate, something which is not good, because in aviation we have our flight plan, we calculate the fuel to our destination, so we have to avoid this kind of thing. Benghazi, according to my flight plan and according to my authorization, they said no. It's from the highest authority. You have to land in Abraq Al-Baida. Several times, at least 8 times, and I warned them probably I will be in trouble for fuel. They said it's from highest.
That's Captain Abdul Latif Merchagoui, the Tunisian who flew the charter jet for the Nigerian contingent to Libya. Gentlemen, this is looking very, very interesting now. Is it that the Libyans are running scared? Is their conscience beginning to prick them? Is it that the fact that I'm also hearing that they are threatening the Tunisian captain for not showing, North African solidarity?
Yeah, they're just compounding their own woes with the threats, because all those issuing the threats, I mean, the Tunisian pilot can document, and it's further proof to the fact that they had a lot of dark arts that they were trying to push out. So, I mean, and you know, when all of this was going on, it was the only one that was offered an opportunity to leave the airport for a decent hotel accommodation. So, where is the story turning around now, and accusations to the Tunisian man who is working for a Nigerian company, Nigerian airline. So where would they think that his allegiance would lie? I mean, he's flying the Nigerian team, and he has the experience. He knows what exactly happened.
He also works for a Nigerian company.
He has everything documented. They want him to speak against
the first one was very
clear. To be honest, he was also in discomfort.
Yeah.
I mean, he had to be on the
plane. He was complaining. So do you want him to speak against documented evidence?
They say a clear conscience fears no accusation. So the Libyans are running riots, saying everything that they can say. It's obvious. Fingers have been pointed towards the Libyan FA, Libyan authorities, they are at fault. But I think we should just wait for CAF because I think there's something fishy somewhere.
Oh, well, I mean, it's obvious that Nigeria are not taking this line now because from what we heard, 20 people were at that hearing in support of Nigeria. They brought witnesses, they brought evidence, they brought everything. It's not looking good for Libya, to be honest.
It's not looking good for them at all. And as Udoka said, we have to wait for CAF. But you know, Libya right now is not in a good state. The
government is divided. There's one in the east, there's one in the west.
A house divided against itself cannot present a united front against a formidable opponent like Nigeria. I mean, the media war is against them. The
social media war,
the perception of everything is against them. So. And they are not united. The government is divided, and they're trying to say there were security reasons why the pilot is making them understand that everything is documented. And to even further rubbish whatever defense they are putting up, countries were landing in
that same Benghazi Airport
at the same time, and you have to tell us to move over 300, how many kilometers, hundreds of kilometers east. You know, so well, as Roka said, we can have all the evidence in the world, and drama can still happen.
Is there a danger that CAF would look to appease all parties?
No, let's not assume. Let's just
look for
CAF.
If you remember, CAF have never really shown, do I say, the intestinal fortitude to want to come down heavily on countries, make very strong pronouncements, set precedents. But you get the impression that this is beyond that because it's gained global attention. But is there a danger that CAF want to, like, let's settle this in-house politically because we're all African brothers?
I think there might be because antecedents have shown that CAF is not really stern in terms of giving harsh sanctions. When we had the director of communications for the NFF, you know, speaking with us during that week that it happened, you know, he also said that, you know, in his own opinion, because he has stern experience within administration, he said, look, in recent years, especially under the administration of Motsepe, it does seem like due to the fact that you've got more numbers in administration in terms of northern Africans, it seems to be that they always get decisions in their way. And it might be a problem for West African countries. I hope. I mean, there
was the interesting story of the president of the Tunisian FA who actually assaulted the referee.
Moroccan FA.
It was the Moroccan FA who assaulted the referee during the CAF Champions League game.
And nothing was done about it.
And the referee changed his report and said nothing happened to him. you know, the worst case scenario for me is that this issue is capable of causing a diplomatic row.
Of course.
So they want to tread with caution. Maybe that's the worst possible case scenario for me from CAF.
So would they rather like to sacrifice diplomatic relations between Nigeria and Libya, or be seen to do the right thing?
The issue is there are so many things that go on behind the scenes
that we don't know,
that are of national interest to both countries. So if both countries, agree that, look, let's keep these things out of the spotlight, let's bring a political solution to all of this, they can override whatever CAF intends to do, because
it's going
football,
to be a huge problem.
Yeah, a lot of other considerations are there.
Lots of Nigerians in Libya,
yeah,
to be honest.
So at the end of the day, I'm expecting that the decision will come that will save face for CAF, but at the same time, they need to take a decision that will also be a warning
to other countries.
A big, not a slap on the wrist, a big punch, the kind of Dubois punch. You just the kind of Dubois punch to tell these nations that, look, we can hit you.
Yeah, we're fast running out of time. But after this, mention this one, that let's go to international football now. We heard that a friend of Liverpool's star Luis Diaz's father was today sentenced to 4 years in prison for his role in a kidnapping plot last year. Colombian media reports that Diaz's father's friend, who was a part of the plot to kidnap him in October 2023, was announced today, and the Colombian judge has sentenced Yeridicin Bolivar to 4 years and 8 months in prison for his role in the scheme after he confessed to his participation. Luis Manuel Diaz, the father of the Liverpool and Colombia star, was kidnapped alongside his wife Silenis Marulanda in Barrancas, Colombia, by armed men last year. And while his mother was released hours later, his father was held by the group for 12 days before being finally released after a huge public search. I think there's a Yoruba proverb that says "Kokoro to Njefo." Basically, the pest that is feeding on on the plant. It's basically right there on the plant. It's those closest to you. And that's why when police and security officials carry out investigations, the first people that they start asking questions are those closest to you.
Of course.
Yeah, and it's not the first time. This is with Luis Diaz, it's his father's friend. With Paul Pogba, when he had the whole
It was his brothers. Usually those closest to you are the ones that have access to where you will be at any point in time and can easily arrange things of this nature.
Nefarious
it's just a
plans.
tragedy. It's just a tragedy.
Major tragedy.
Should I be worried?
Come on. Mr. Cool,
I know he's closest to you, but
If anybody is to be worried, is the billionaire.
exactly. Mr. Billionaire.
what a way to just put the pin.
Phone lines are still open, 070-5572-7272. Please call in and let's know what you're thinking regarding sports this weekend. But don't forget, there are big matches in Europe this weekend. In England, it's Arsenal versus Liverpool. And we hear that Diogo Jota will miss that Premier League match between Arsenal and Liverpool on Sunday. His head coach, Arne Slot, has confirmed that he will be missing. The Portuguese forward suffered a rib injury in a collision last weekend in the victory over Chelsea and has not recovered in time to make the journey to the Emirates Stadium. We heard that a new signing Federico Chiesa is also ruled out. Defender Conor Bradley is also hoping to prove his fitness after a knock as well. Backup goalkeeper Quivin Kelleher will continue to deputise for the injured Alisson Becker, whose return date from a thigh injury remains unclear. And Slot has made a superb start since taking over at Anfield in the summer, with 11 wins from his 12 games in all competitions, and his side are currently top of the table. Meanwhile, over in London, we hear that Bukayo Saka has returned to training for Arsenal ahead of their showdown with the Premier League leaders. The Gunners will be without the suspended William Saliba for the visit of Liverpool, while Martin Odegaard is still injured. But Arteta has refused to rule out Ricardo Calafiori or Julian Timber. Gentlemen, if there is ever a good game to watch this weekend, it has to be this one.
Yeah, definitely. And I think because in recent years, Arsenal seem to have gotten the number of Liverpool, despite the fact that, they are very close competitors, and probably because Arsenal has been closer in the title race. But you are taking a look at this game right now, and you see a depleted Arsenal side on paper. Yeah. But we've known Mikel Arteta to being very good with mind games, and you don't really know who is going to start against Liverpool. And, there are so many memes going on social media about, Bukayo Saka, a comparison to the meme of, the Undertaker, while he was in the WWE, him in a wheelchair pretending to be injured, and then once it's time to wrestle, he takes off the cover cloth, and he's on his feet. So you never really know. Bukayo always wants to down the line for Arsenal, but I'm more interested in the tactical battle. That's what I really want to see. And Slot is different. He has brought, for me, stability to that Liverpool midfield, to the team generally.
Defense, actually.
The defense.
They have the best defense in the Premier League.
I think, in terms of goals not conceded, they're one of the best.
They're the best.
They're the best. And I like the way the team builds up. They seem to be very compact, very strong. And I think what I love the most about this Liverpool side, in comparison to the last two seasons, is them being clinical in front of goal.
Tony, good game, but you have to give Arne Slot a lot of credit as well. He had big shoes to fill, and he doesn't seem to have been
slotted them in.
Yeah, no pun intended.
So he's done a good job, and the team is very balanced, very fluid. This is going to be a tough game. Arsenal have also stepped up, and they're becoming a threat when they play against any of these big teams. So, this is the game. This is the star game for definitely.
Udoka, you?
Yeah, I'm actually afraid for Arsenal because this is a depleted Arsenal side, and without William Saliba, very depleted. Very depleted. No Martin Odegaard, obviously no Saliba in that game. And
Saka is
skeptical.
Missing two players has made
he's depleted.
So these are strong.
How we know that Liverpool are missing Alisson Becker, they're missing Diogo Jota, they're also missing Conor Bradley, they're missing
Zoka is an Arsenal fan.
Definitely, obviously.
So two guys now.
Say no more. Let me show you the fixtures of matches that will be played in the English Premier League this weekend as well. One game is currently going on between Leicester and Nottingham Forest. It's currently 3-1 to Nottingham Forest. They are started this season like a house on fire. They are still unbeaten, if I recall, and they are doing very, very well. You have to give their coach, Nuno Espirito Santo, lots and lots of credit.
The coach of Leicester against his former club?
Yeah, against his former club, yeah. He did.
He coached Wolves.
No, he coached Wolves.
I'm talking of Leicester's coach now.
Oh, yes, very true,
yes,
very true.
yeah.
Yes, very true. Let's quickly show the big fixtures. Brentford versus Ipswich, Aston Villa versus Bournemouth. Wolves be guests of Brighton. Man City will be hosting Southampton. Looks like a short 3 points. Everton will also be tackling Fulham. Newcastle will be guests of Chelsea. Crystal Palace will also facing Tottenham Hotspur, while it's Arsenal versus Liverpool. There's also another big match as well in Spain this weekend. The whole of Spain will stand still tomorrow ahead of the 258th installment of the El Clasico, the perennial showdown between Real Madrid and arch rivals Barcelona. The first meeting this season will take place at Madrid's Santiago Bernabeu Stadium, and both teams come into this match in fine form after hammering German opposition in the UEFA Champions League. Madrid came from 2 goals down to beat Borussia Dortmund 4-2, while Barcelona plastered Bayern Munich 4-1. And it will be Barca coach Hansi Flick and Madrid forwards Kylian Mbappe's first taste of the El Clasico. And Carlo Ancelotti said one win or a draw away from equaling La Liga's longest unbeaten run. The Spanish champions last lost 13 months and 42 games ago, and it's quite apt that their next match is against fierce rivals Barcelona, who currently own the outright record for 43 games unbeaten between 2017 and 2018. Meanwhile, it's time for StakeWise, where we give you the top picks for the matches that you should be staking on.
StakeWise, here are our selections for this weekend. In the Nigeria Premier Football League, Heartland will take on Remo Stars, and we predict that Remo Stars will continue with their fine form in the NPFL, and our selection will be a win or draw for the away side. Enyimba will take on Ikorodu City, and Enyimba would want to bounce back to winning ways, so we predict that Enyimba will beat Ikorodu City. In the English Premier League, Manchester City, we predict, will defeat Southampton. And in the game between Arsenal and Liverpool, we predict that both teams will score in that match. In the Spanish La Liga, it is the El Clasico, as Real Madrid will welcome Barcelona, and we predict that both teams will score in that encounter. These are selections for this week. Remember, in whatever you do, don't forget to stake wise.
That's according to the team here at On Game On. But many thanks to the guys in the studio, Udoka Ojoku, Tony Bitoye, and Alpide Barrier, to the guys behind the scenes who made this possible as well. Thank you so much. But before we go, let's tell you that in Game 5 of the 1997 NBA Finals, Michael Jordan delivered one of the most legendary performances in basketball history, despite battling what was later revealed to be severe food poisoning. Dubbed the flu game, Jordan defied illness to lead the Chicago Bulls to a crucial 90-88 victory over the Utah Jazz, securing a 3-2 series lead. Jordan's heroic effort was unforgettable. He scored 38 points, grabbed 7 rebounds, and dished out 5 assists, all while visibly struggling with fatigue and weakness. Throughout the game, the sight of Jordan hunched over, drenched in sweat, and barely able to stand made the spectacle both surreal and inspiring. And his sheer willpower became the defining image of the night, with his final collapse into teammate Scottie Pippen's arms after the victory, symbolizing the toll it took on him. And the flu game remains one of the most remarkable feats in NBA history, a testament to Jordan's unmatched resilience and competitive spirit, further cementing his legacy as the greatest player of all time. And that's our show tonight. Many thanks for joining us. The show makes a return on Monday, but before then, you can catch In the Game tomorrow and on Sunday at 11 a.m. My name is Babatunde Koiki. Wish you a wonderful weekend.